Hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Flow. Today, I want to talk about my new school experience. Have you ever started at a new school? If you have, you probably know how strange and nervous the first day can feel. Last year, I had to leave my old school because my family moved to another part of the city. I had studied at my old school for many years, so leaving was not easy. I knew all my teachers and classmates. I knew where everything was, and I had a few very good friends. When my mother told me that I would start at a new school, I wasn't very happy. I asked her, what if I don't make any friends? She smiled and said, don't worry. Just be friendly and give yourself some time. Her words helped me feel a little better. The night before my first day, I prepared my school bag, books, notebooks, and clothes. I checked my alarm because I didn't want to be late. When I went to bed, I kept thinking about the next morning. Would the students be friendly? Would the teachers be nice? Would I be able to make new friends? I finally fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up early and got ready for school. When I arrived, I stood outside the school gate for a moment. The school was much bigger than my old school. There were students everywhere. Some were talking with their friends, while others were walking toward their classrooms. I suddenly felt nervous. I didn't know where to go. Then I saw a teacher near the entrance. I walked toward her and said, "Excuse me. Could you please tell me where room 12 is?" She smiled and said, "Of course. Go upstairs and turn left." I thanked her. Then she asked, "Are you new here?" I said, "Yes. Today is my first day." She smiled and said, "Welcome to our school." Those simple words made me feel better. I walked upstairs and found my classroom. When I entered, several students were already there. I looked around and saw an empty seat near the window. I sat down. A boy sitting nearby looked at me and said, "Hi. Are you new?" I smiled. "Yes. My name is Daniel. I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too." It was a very simple conversation, but I felt much less nervous after talking to him. A few minutes later, another student came over. "Hi, I'm Emma." "Hi, I'm Daniel. Are you new to the school?" "Yes." She smiled and said, "Don't worry. Everyone is friendly here." That made me feel comfortable. Soon, our teacher entered the classroom. She looked at me and said, "You must be Daniel. Welcome to our class." I stood up and said, "Thank you." Then she asked me to introduce myself. I was nervous, but I stood in front of the class. "Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm new to this school. I like playing football, listening to music, and watching movies. I'm happy to meet you all." Everyone smiled and clapped. I sat down. Ryan whispered, "That was good." I smiled and said, "Thanks." The first lesson was English. At first, I was still nervous, but after a few minutes, I started enjoying the class. The teacher asked a question, and I knew the answer. I raised my hand. "Daniel?" I answered the question. The teacher smiled and said, "Good job." I felt proud. It was only my first morning, but things were already getting better. I had talked to new people, answered a question in class, and found my classroom. But then the lunch bell rang. Everyone started leaving the classroom. I looked around and suddenly realized something. I didn't know where to sit for lunch. I had to make another decision. Should I eat alone? Or should I ask Ryan and Emma if I could join them? I took a deep breath. Then I walked toward them. "Hey, can I sit with you?" Ryan smiled. "Of course." And that was the moment when my new school experience really began. To be continued in part 2. When I sat down with Ryan and Emma, I started to feel much more comfortable. Ryan asked, "So, Daniel, what do you think about our school?" I smiled and said, "It's bigger than my old school." Emma laughed. "Yes, it takes a few days to learn where everything is." I asked, "Are you both in this class every day?" "Yes," Ryan said. "We've been classmates for almost 2 years." That made me feel better. During lunch, we talked about different things. Ryan liked football. Emma liked reading and drawing. I told them that I also liked football and music. We quickly found that we had many things in common. After lunch, Ryan showed me around the school. He showed me the library, science room, computer room, and sports field. He also showed me the cafeteria. I asked, "Where do students usually study?" "Mostly in the library," he said. "Is it usually quiet?" Yes, but sometimes it's very busy. I laughed. Good to know. As we walked around, I realized that the school wasn't as scary as it had seemed that morning. There were many students, but most of them were friendly. Some smiled at me. Some said hello. A few even asked me where I was from. At first, I was shy, but I slowly became more confident. Later that afternoon, we had a science class. The teacher divided us into small groups for an activity. I was placed in the same group as Ryan, Emma, and another student named Sam. The teacher gave us a simple task. We had to work together and answer some questions. Sam looked at me and said, "Daniel, can you write the answers?" "Sure." Ryan found the information. Emma checked the answers. Sam helped with the difficult questions. We worked together for about 20 minutes. When we finished, our teacher looked at our work. Excellent teamwork. We all smiled. I realized something important. I didn't have to do everything alone. I could ask questions. I could work with other students. And I could make friends by simply being friendly. At the end of the school day, the final bell rang. Everyone started packing their bags. I looked at Ryan. "Do you walk home?" "Yes." "What about you?" "My mother is picking me up." "Okay. See you tomorrow." "See you." Emma waved at me. "Bye, Daniel." "Bye." When I walked outside, I saw my mother waiting near the gate. She looked at me and asked, "How was your first day?" I smiled. It was much better than I expected. She looked happy. "Did you make any friends?" "Yes. I met Ryan, Emma, and Sam." She smiled. "I told you it would be okay." I laughed. "Yes, you were right." On the way home, I thought about my day. That morning, I had been afraid that nobody would talk to me. But now I had 3 new friends. I had learned where my classrooms were. I had joined a group activity. And I had even answered a question in class. My first day wasn't perfect. I still felt nervous sometimes. I still missed my old school. But I was beginning to understand something. Starting at a new school doesn't mean leaving everything behind. It means giving yourself a chance to begin again. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. I wasn't as nervous as before. I was actually excited. I wanted to see my new friends. I wanted to learn more about my new school. And I wanted to see what the next day would bring. But when I arrived at school, I noticed something unexpected. There was a new student standing alone near the classroom door. He looked nervous. He didn't know anyone. I immediately understood how he felt. I walked toward him and smiled. "Hi, are you new here?" He looked at me and nodded. "Yes. Today is my first day." I smiled and said, "Don't worry. I was new yesterday too." And that's when I realized how much my first day had already changed me. To be continued in part 3. The new student smiled when I told him that I had also been new. "My name is Daniel," I said. "What's your name?" "I'm Noah." "Nice to meet you, Noah." "Nice to meet you too." I showed him our classroom and introduced him to Ryan and Emma. Ryan smiled and said, "Welcome." Noah looked relieved. I understood exactly how he felt because I had felt the same way only one day earlier. During the morning class, Noah sat next to me. He asked me a few questions. "Where is the library? Where do we eat lunch? Which teacher teaches science?" I answered everything I knew. Then I laughed. "Don't worry. You'll learn everything soon." Noah smiled. "You already know a lot." I said I learned most of it yesterday. At lunch, we all sat together. There were 4 of us now. Ryan, Emma, Noah, and me. We talked about our favorite subjects, hobbies, sports, and music. Noah told us that he liked basketball. Ryan immediately asked, "Do you play?" "Yes." "Then you have to join our team." Noah smiled. "I'd like that." After lunch, we went to the sports field. Ryan and Noah started playing basketball. Emma and I watched them for a while. Then Ryan shouted, "Daniel, come and play." I joined them. We played for about 30 minutes. It was fun, and for the first time, I felt like I truly belonged at the school. A few weeks passed. My daily routine started to feel normal. I knew my teachers. I knew my classrooms. I knew where to sit during lunch. I knew which books I needed for each class. Most importantly, I had made good friends. But there were still some difficult days. One afternoon, I received a low score on a math test. I felt disappointed. I looked at the paper and thought, I'm not good at math. Emma noticed that I was quiet. What's wrong? I didn't do well on the test. She looked at my paper. It's okay. You can improve. Ryan said. We can study together. I looked at them. Really? Of course. That afternoon, we stayed after school and studied together. Ryan explained one question. Emma explained another. I asked questions whenever I didn't understand something. At first, I felt embarrassed. But then I realized that asking for help was not a bad thing. It was a good way to learn. After a few days of practice, I understood the lessons much better. The next time we had a math test, I got a much better score. I was very happy. My teacher said, "Well done, Daniel. Keep working hard." I smiled. I had learned another important lesson. You don't have to be good at everything immediately. Sometimes, you just need patience and practice. My school experience continued to change me. I became more confident when speaking in front of the class. I started participating in school activities. I joined the football club. I also started visiting the library after school. Sometimes, I helped other students with English. One day, Noah asked me, "Do you remember your first day?" I laughed. Yes. I was so nervous. You don't look nervous now. I know. I thought about it for a moment. Actually, I'm happy I came here. Noah smiled. Me too. Then I realized something. If I had stayed afraid on my first day, I might never have met these people. I might never have joined the football club. I might never have become friends with Ryan, Emma, Sam, and Noah. Sometimes, the things that make us nervous can become some of the best experiences in our lives. Starting at a new school taught me to be brave. It taught me to ask questions. It taught me to make the first move. And most importantly, it taught me that a new beginning doesn't have to be scary forever. There was still one final thing I wanted to do. I wanted to thank the people who had helped me feel welcome. So, the next day, I decided to do something special. And it turned into one of my favorite school memories. To be continued in part 4. The next morning, I came to school early. I had an idea. I wanted to thank the people who had helped me when I was new. I bought some small snacks and brought them to school. When Ryan, Emma, Sam, and Noah arrived, I put the snacks on the table. Ryan looked surprised. "What's this?" I smiled. "I just wanted to say thank you." Emma asked. "For what?" "For making me feel welcome when I was new." Noah laughed. "You've only been here for a few weeks." "I know, but those first days were important to me." Ryan smiled. "We're happy you're here." Those simple words made me feel really happy. We spent the morning talking and laughing before class started. Then our teacher walked in. She looked at us and smiled. "You all seem very happy today," Ryan said. "We're celebrating Daniel's first few weeks at our school." Everyone laughed. During class, our teacher gave us a group project. We had to prepare a short presentation about our favorite place. This time, I wasn't nervous about working with other students. I immediately joined Ryan, Emma, Noah, and Sam. We discussed our ideas. Ryan wanted to talk about the football field. Emma chose the library. Noah chose the basketball court. I decided to talk about my old school. When it was time to present, I stood in front of the class. I looked around. A few weeks earlier, I would have been extremely nervous. But this time, I felt comfortable. I started speaking. My favorite place is my old school. Everyone listened. I explained that I had many good memories there. I talked about my old friends, my teachers, and the things I learned. Then I said something important. At first, I didn't want to leave my old school. I thought starting somewhere new would be difficult. But now I understand that new beginnings can be good too. When I finished, everyone clapped. My teacher smiled. "That was a wonderful presentation, Daniel." I thanked her. When I returned to my seat, Emma whispered, "That was really good." I smiled. "Thanks." After class, I thought about how much I had changed. On my first day, I was afraid to talk to anyone. I didn't know where my classroom was. I didn't know where to eat lunch. I didn't know anyone. Now I had friends. I knew my school. I was comfortable asking questions. I could speak in front of the class. And I wasn't afraid of making mistakes. I realized that I had learned something more important than school subjects. I had learned about confidence. I had learned that making friends takes time. I had learned that it's okay to feel nervous. You don't have to feel confident before you try something new. Sometimes, confidence comes after you take the first step. If you are starting at a new school, remember my experience. You may feel nervous on the first day. That's completely normal. Don't expect everything to become perfect immediately. Start with a simple hello. Ask someone a question. Introduce yourself. Join a group. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't need to make 10 friends on your first day. One friendly person can make a big difference. And if someone else is new, remember how they might feel. You can be the person who says, "Hi, are you new here?" Those few words might make their whole day better. Looking back, I am actually thankful that I had to change schools. At first, I thought it was a problem, but it became an opportunity. I met new people. I learned new things. I became more confident. And I made memories that I will never forget. So, if you're going through a big change right now, don't be afraid. A new beginning may feel uncomfortable at first. But sometimes, the best experiences start with a little fear. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Daily English Flow. I hope my experience helped you learn some useful English and also gave you a little confidence. Remember, don't be afraid to say hello. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And don't be afraid to start something new. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Keep learning. And I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.